Speed is critical. Fast coffee, comma, fast photos, comma, fast uploads, period. Everything fast, 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 exclamation point. No delay, comma, no lag, comma. Why is speed important, question mark? I believe that as artists we spend too much time planning or even simply thinking about ideas or projects that we want to work on without actually taking action, where I believe that to take action and make things quickly is the solution, period. The more that we dwell on perfection, comma, the less production, period. No more thinking, only doing. Alright. iPad Pro. Split view. Photos. Go through my recent photos. Hand. Sculpture. So I'm just making this collage first thing in the morning to get my creative ideas out into the world. Whatever I find in my Photos app, I will simply drag and drop them into this canvas using Procreate to just play around and see what's possible. I think that the idea is making things quickly, carelessly, in a way where, you know, you don't take it too seriously, but I'm merely just trying to have fun with the creations that I make. And yeah, I think that this is actually an interesting way to make things. There's something about this process. I mean, I'm just getting started with it and trying it out, but who knows? This cough and cold medicine, all these discarded objects. You know, I think it's interesting to take discarded objects from the streets and uplift them, like all of the discarded things, all of the sort of things that are left behind and sort of forgotten, perhaps are interesting to photograph. Even considering like stickers on the walls and these kind of things, these textures, they actually become really beautiful when you uplift them in a photograph. And yeah, there's just something about it. Yeah, I'm actually going to get rid of this layer of that silhouette. I don't think it works with this. I like these bolts. You know, what's interesting is there's so much you can do with all of the photos that we create on the street that have nothing to do with just pure photography, it seems. And perhaps compositing is a good solution. Mark Zuckerberg. Can I pull Mark Zuckerberg into this? Oh, I can. Perfect. Make him like the star of the show here. The Zuck. Maybe I gotta move the leaf out of the way. I can flip it this way. Put it in the corner a little bit, like that. Need to find something that'll pop with contrast in the foreground. I think it's always good to bring a statue in. Maybe I can bring this revolutionary soldier statue in. It's something. I also have a soldier in the top right. Love is a battlefield with the assault rifle. Imagine if you could pull all these birds. That'd be cool. Pull this wall out, make that a background element. Oh, I can put that at the top. And then we have a collage. I'll save this. Just a fast, quick process, not trying to take it too serious. Just trying to make things and move on, I think is a good idea where, yeah, the more I kind of dwell on ideas, the less I'm going to actually do the thing. So, yeah, the idea with speed is, even with photography, right, when you're making photographs, I think it's actually best to just make them quickly. And when you see something, just take the picture, right? Like no hesitation, just sort of make things and move on. No hesitation. Also with blogging, treat every blog post kind of like a work in progress. And I really highly suggest to delete Instagram. Kind of a funny thought after seeing the Zuck. Love is a battlefield. And then I'll title these pieces whatever I sort of discover from the piece itself. Maybe is a good one too. So I took that photo of the Love is a Battlefield thing. There was a sticker I found on a side of a newspaper stand. So I'll publish this. But yeah, I think that actually all artists, photographers specifically, because I guess Instagram initially was like a photo sharing platform, right? Should probably delete their Instagram. I mean, not even probably, just should. I kind of like thinking of it like this digital ghetto. And essentially, yeah, see, this is actually pretty, I actually like this one. This one's interesting. But yeah, no, I think that it's kind of like this digital ghetto, Instagram, and when you have full creative control over the place that you share your work, there's more creative freedom to make different things and to also just feel the ownership itself, right? You feel more empowered, right? Where there's no fear of censorship and things. Where I've had photos deleted and things like that for censorship reasons. Even with YouTube, right? Like YouTube isn't good because of this. Like, I think ultimately it's going to come down to your first name, last name.com. Like that's the future, just owning your own domain. Because I've even had a slideshow of my best work removed because of some photos from the Palestinian cities. And so the solution, I mean, ultimately the solution is create a sketchbook, right? So I have this small little Passport Muji slim notebook from, yeah, Muji, 40 pages. I think I cut out some pages, make it a little bit smaller. And essentially I use this, so pro tip, everyone get the Canon Selfie CP1500. This is a small printer that you can fit anywhere. I mean, it's extremely small, as you can see. And you'll get some paper like this, and you can make, see there's 108 sheets, and it comes with the ink. They're 4x6 pieces of paper, but I actually, in the app on my phone, printed out small versions of the pictures on one 4x6, and then I cut them out and pasted them in using double-sided tape or whatever. And so when you meet photographers, and they ask, or like anyone, right? Not even just photographers. Like I'm using photographers as an example because typically it's the photographer that'll ask, oh, hey, look, here's a leaf, I composited. But yeah, you'll meet photographers that'll ask you, oh, like, what's your Instagram? I want to see your work or whatever. I actually think even better than telling them to visit your website or whatever, just hand them your sketchbook and have that be the thing they flip through, and then, I mean, they get a better sense of the work. They see that you actually care about it, and honestly, I just think it's a much more interesting approach where you share in the physical flesh the body of work, and this is small enough where it can always fit in your pocket, and I think that's just a nice thing. Yeah, it's a good thought. Make a sketchbook. Another tip with photography, so I've gone through a lot of these different Instax cameras, right? Here we have the Instax Wide. This was my first Instax camera. Kind of got busted with the focus ring because I've traveled all over with it, but this was the first camera that I used when I traveled to Israel, and when I was in the Palestinian cities, I used this a lot. So where are some examples of these Instax pictures? I'll find some maybe, but what I would do is I would approach people because of the language barrier. You can't really communicate effectively, right? You know, salam alaikum, oh shalom, like you can't really say hello. So, I mean, you can't really have like a full conversation. So you can pull out an Instax camera, make photographs, gift them the photograph, and have this like beautiful exchange. And what this does is it breaks the ice and allows you into situations that you would otherwise never fathom. You know, I've been invited into many homes, wedding celebrations, different sort of gatherings, religious events and stuff like that, where because of the use of an Instax camera and merely just like sharing the gift of photography, you know, I was trusted and able to sort of have this access as an outsider on the inside. And then I'm really into the new stuff. You know, I always like using the latest things. Yeah, so the other one, the Mini 40, I think it's essentially the same. It takes, so that's the wide. I actually should suggest these smaller ones. So like the Mini 40 is good. It has like this thing you push out, and then I just have to change the battery. The thing with this is it's not as compact, slightly, where this Mini Evo is the newest one that's a digital hybrid, and it's actually so compact that you can actually fit it like in your pocket. And yeah, so you turn it on, you can plug it in, charge it, doesn't take like double A's or whatever, and you have an LCD screen on the back like this. So for instance, I can take a photo of, let's just take a photo of American photographs on my bookshelf. You pull the lever back and it prints the picture in this new like weird sort of digital hybrid way that I actually think is charming. You can even sync it with your iPhone and print things on the go. So there's something about this. There's also fun filters and things. It's more like a toy camera, but to be fair, it's really, really good in a way, because photography is a universal language. To share the print with strangers can go a long way, as you know, at the end of the day, traveling is probably the most exciting way to practice photography. And oh yeah, I used to play with these little toys when I was a child. I would buy these in the toy store when I was a little boy in Rome, and I would always play with these little sure. Like this is how I would play in my childhood. I would set up these different like Roman and like Crusader figures, and I would fight against like the gladiator versus the Crusader, like whoever, and I would have these like little battles and set up the little horsemen and stuff all around my room. And yeah, I thought that was a fun way to play as a kid. I would also spend my mornings drawing like little drawings of battles and things. I was always into that kind of stuff. But yeah, as you can see, it's making a tiny little print like this, which, you know, is small enough where you can fit it in your pocket. You know, the wide is kind of big. So I think the mini is actually better. And so if I go, this is my first sketchbook. So my first sketchbook here, you can see this. Palestine, I love you, Dante. Some boy like wrote in Arabic or whatever in my book. It's kind of funny. But yeah, I would go through all of my photos and actually write about them and archive them physically and date them, location, everything, as a way for me to learn. So like from day one, I would practice this method, and to this day operate with a sketchbook. So in terms of photography, look, I've experimented with all sorts of cameras, the sort of different formats. I used this 120 film with the Mamiya, with the Rolly, to see what I really enjoyed using, and operated in different ways. I have a little fortune cookie thing. Yeah, so I did like portraits with the medium format, you know, asking more for permission, trying to learn how to operate the camera in different ways. I would look at the history, map out different locations, and ultimately, yeah, this practice of sketchbooking has always been something that helps me learn about making photos. I also have this like spread of different disposables. You know, I really enjoyed using the disposable camera. Honestly, if I were to suggest anyone that's getting into photography, I would say get a disposable camera as your first camera to just like see if you like it. And so here are some of the Polaroids or Instax pictures, you could say. These are the wide, they're bigger, as opposed to this small mini. But I actually think the mini's, you know, the wide is just like a luxury. The mini is just more efficient, right? It's just a more efficient gift. It's also cheaper, whatever. But yeah, I have a lot of different like Instax pictures. Here's me like standing on top of the wall, looking at this wall, and I believe there is, what is that? It's either Jerusalem or Bethlehem. It looks like Jerusalem. But yeah, I think the Instax thing can go a long way. And, you know, the Mini Evo, I mean, it's digital, but it still has like charm to it, like whatever the colors and things it turns out to be. It's like, I don't know what these, they're just like little plastic cameras. The wide, I mean, I guess the wide looks aesthetically better. Maybe this just needs more time, and it's also low light, whatevs. But like, you can also use the flash and stuff. I think that makes a difference too. But it's not really the point. It's not to like make these like perfect pictures, but it's like, I don't know, it's just all about the gift of the photographer giving the picture, and also, you know, it's just, really it's like, the gift of photography is so important to me. It's like, it makes such an, like a photograph makes such an impact in my life, and I just like to share that with someone else. The gift of photography. If you're planning on traveling, I highly suggest picking up an Instax camera, period. This has always been a part of my process that I've grown to love while traveling, period. When you approach strangers that you would like to photograph, simply ask if they would like their picture taken and gift them an Instax print in the flesh, period. The joy of photography is the fact that it is a universal language, period. It transcends cultural... It transcends cultures and language. Why is this? It transcends culture and language. Barriers. Turn the microphone off. Barriers. Maybe I can chat GPT an image. Help me visualize a photographer giving a Polaroid photograph to a stranger in the old city of Jerusalem. I really would like to revisit Jerusalem. I have no idea why. It's just natural. I always have like a gut feeling, and I just follow my gut feelings. With all of the places I've traveled to, I never thought about it too long. I would always just do the thing. And I think that's something that is one of my strengths. I would never really plan or think too much about things. I kind of just go and do the thing. Hey, look at this. This is pretty cool. I like this. That's amazing. I think DALL-E 3, it's more cartoony looking than I think Midjourney, the other sort of softwares that you can use with AI, but alas, this is what I use. I mean, it still looks pretty damn good. It looks pretty damn good, but I'm pretty certain that the other versions are getting even better. But yeah, I like using the this sort of stuff in my workflow. ChatGPT, DALL-E 3, Procreate. Also, ZenBrush is fun to make calligraphy drawings. There's like a variety of different creative acts that we can sort of partake with in terms of our photography and art making as visual artists or just artists generally. I really would like to get into making music somehow, some other sort of ways of expressing myself that doesn't necessarily have to be a pure photographer's photography, if that makes sense. That's why I've been doing the collages recently and just starting that new idea of mine. So the good thing with photo books is you can learn about, obviously, photography and different approaches, different ideas, different locations. I think that photo books are beautiful art objects. I have a lot of photo books that I just lie around my place. One of the books in particular that has really inspired me has been the works of Ray Metzger, and Ray Metzger in some of his work actually composites photographs that are more experimental. Here you can see a sort of composite of a parking pavilion there, right at the start of his book. And I think there's something to be said about making these composites and doing things that are more experimental to push the boundaries of what we can make with our photography. So yeah, admittedly, the works of Ray Metzger and his ideas of compositing and making these sort of experimental pieces like this along the Schuylkill River, this double frame, you know, they're very interesting to me. And I think that using the new tools can maybe be a good way of exploring this. Here he has just some regular, you know, just street shots as well, high contrast, black and white, you know, looking at this man with the kite on the left and the woman in white on the right. I mean, this spread is incredible, and it really inspires my aesthetic tastes. And also it's like one of the legends locally that photographed these very streets that I'm living in, so it's cool to look at, basically. And yeah, I highly suggest photo books as the sort of supreme way of looking at work. You know, you can find some archives online, you can find some resources on the internet, but really owning the book and actually having it in the flesh, yeah, there's something to be said about actually looking at the work in person. Yeah. And what I love is you get to see all different parts of the world, different places that you'll maybe desire to go one day, and sort of become inspired by the work of others. I think from the past is it's probably a good thing. So I have this book here, Kudelka. I think Kudelka is another one of the photographers that are inspiring my current aesthetic tastes with the high contrast look. But also his documentary approach is something that I'm very fond of, and his approach to photographing the gypsies here is something that I find inspiring. So you have some like pose portraits indoors, some more candid shots, some still lives, like photos of tables, the sort of interiors, photo outside of a church. Like, there's different things going on, right? The man in the barber shop sort of combing his beard, trimming his beard, the musicians, the family, the mother sleeping with her children. This father sort of tired with all of his kids. There's just like something to be said about the aesthetics of Kudelka's high contrast with the mix of documentary approach. There's a variety of ways to approach this thing, and I think that taking inspiration from all sorts of sources is good. And they just become these like beautiful objects to display as well. So I have like a variety of books here. I also put them in these like shelves where you can see different books. And then I display them here in my room. Actually, so I have another Kudelka right there. The first photo book I actually ever picked up was this one by Todd Papageorge, Passing Through Eden, Photos of Central Park, one of Gary Winogrand's friends. And there's like a photo in particular in here that still strikes me to this day. And I think there's something just about this particular photograph that has always resonated with me. It's like a topsy-turvy composition, not perfect, but has this spontaneous moment that occurs. Oh, this one is beautiful. I wonder if the POV is even picking this stuff up. Here, maybe I'll have to like position the camera better. But yeah, there's like so this is the particular photo. I think that this photo very early on inspired me in terms of layering and making compositions more dynamic and considering foreground, middle ground, background relationships, where the photo itself feels unreal to me because of this Coca-Cola bottle being kicked towards the photographer. It looks like it was like photoshopped. Like, it looks so fake to me, but that's what makes it so interesting. Like, it looks so... like, it's just very potent. There's something about this Coca-Cola bottle and the moment itself, and I think that this, for me, encompasses the sort of spontaneous moment within street photography. And then in the background, you can see the two girls sort of playing upon this railing, the family in the back picnicking, and I think the combination of elements where there is a spontaneous moment but an interesting background, for me, makes a successful street photograph that is always resonated and sort of ingrained in the back of my brain. And yeah, the Coca-Cola bottle shot from Passing Through Eden by Todd Papageorge is certainly one of those images that I have never gotten out of my mind since first picking up that photo book. Photo books are good for inspiration. Studying the history of photography can actually be a good way to learn about your aesthetic tastes and what you find appealing in a photograph, period. Find a few books that resonate with you, and study them throughout the years, period. I like to find particular photographs that resonate with me and always return to those particular images later as they become ingrained in your brain, period. I think you know that you've found a successful photograph when this occurs, period. Photo books as art objects. Also, photo books are just beautiful objects to have inside of your home, period. I like to decorate my shelves and my tables with a variety of books, period. I believe it's much more enjoyable to flip through a photo book in the evening before going to sleep than watching the TV, period. It's also a good thing for sharing with family that may not understand photography, period. When you hand them a book and allow them to flip through years of work, comma, they get a better appreciation for art in general, period. Making a photograph with the iPad to illustrate my blog post. So, I mean, the iPad, man, why is it, okay, I was like, why is it so blurry? But yeah, I actually believe that the iPad, I mean, it's like, it's kind of insane. It's like, is this like the future of medium format photography? Like, or I'm sorry, large format photography, like having this big digital backing and like mounting this kind of like thing onto like a big large format digital camera would be so cool. I mean, obviously it's like there's a camera there, but you know, something of high quality like an iPad and like maneuvering large format with this sort of LED or LCD screen would be so sick. It would be so sick. It's kind of fun. I mean, I never really take images with this, or take photos of this, but I think it's just so cool to do in this demo here to showcase the behind the scenes of me just making blog posts. So in the morning, yeah, I mean, now it's 4 a.m. I've been up since like 3:30, whatever. A little bit earlier, honestly, because I went to bed at like 6 p.m. Let's take off the POV. Alcohol is the worst drug. Coffee is the best drug. Coffee as a creative stimulant, question mark? Alcohol as a creative depressant, question mark? What is the meaning of creative depressant? Like, I just say shit. I'm like, what does that even mean? It's not a widely recognized term in academic context. Substances that hinder creativity. It could refer to substances that factor or dampen or reduce one's creative abilities. For example, certain drugs, medications, or even a negative environment might be considered a creative depressant if they inhibit. Yeah, you know what? Even being indoors, right? It's not great for creativity. Where actually being outside in the elements, not having a ceiling over your head, kind of just looking up at the sun, looking up at the sky, you have more sort of creative thoughts through walking in the outdoors and moving and making pictures. You know, there's something about this that is worth considering. Only trust creative ideas that come to you when outdoors. Like, for instance, when outdoors. Yeah, because for instance, like when I was walking through the city and just like thinking about the street art, the graffiti, and all these sort of things, and I was looking at these like newspaper clippings, or newspaper stands and like taking out some of the newspaper clippings. I'm like, I should make collages. And then I've just been collecting these things and thinking about how I could do it. And, you know, I have more creative ideas come to me when outdoors, it seems. Ooh. That's nice. Kind of messed it up though. Let's get this quick pump in. Yeah, there's something about the farmer's walk. It's just so damn good. I'm gonna do some chin-ups today. Bicep. Ha ha! The credits are rolling down at the end of the vlog. I have no breath to beatbox right now.